how's it going? This is part 2 of update video number 3 this year, after my Kickstarter campaign and in the phase of actually making the album Journey Home. As you can see, I'm on my journey again, and it's getting more and more beautiful. The seeds that you guys have helped me plant are growing and growing, and I want to show as many of the results to you as possible. But first of all, here are a few more orchestra recordings impressions. The orchestra is the KKO, the Kurpfälzisches Kammerorchester here in Germany, and the collaboration with them was really nice. So, check it out. This next idea is called Train Ride, and it's a situation that I experienced very often. You return from a business trip, you're on a plane or on a train, and there's nothing else you can think of other than finally arriving at home and hugging and kissing your loved ones. So there's this continuous pattern of riding a train, and then there are moments where you just close your eyes and think of home and everybody that you miss. And I mentioned in my last video that I'm going to make music for a game project again. And I want to start with telling you a little bit of the backstory that ultimately led me to this cooperation. It all starts on the very day I launched my Kickstarter campaign for Journey Home. And the same point of time, a good friend of mine, also a game developer, started his own journey home. And he was sort of working on a game project that is actually called The Long Journey Home. Or, to be more precise, Project Daedalus, The Long Journey Home. So both him and I, we were sort of at a strange point in our careers where we wanted to do something that we really loved doing. Something that is real and true and close to the heart. So he started working on his game, The Long Journey Home, and I started making my album, Journey Home. And he called me on the very day that I launched my Kickstarter campaign, saying, "Kai, did you just actually start a Kickstarter campaign for a project that is called pretty much the same as my project?" And that's where we started talking. And I met Andy last week at Gamescom, right before his official announcement of the game. And we had a little chat about the game, so here it comes. Hi again, I'm currently in Cologne at an event called Respawn, which is a game development conference taking place shortly before Gamescom. And the announcement that I mentioned in my last video is going to be made in just a few days. And the person that is behind the new video game that I'm working on, that I'm making music for, is right here. And his name is Andy Zuika.
Hi.
Andy has been involved in The Settlers and Anno, the V version of Anno. And he's currently working on a new game for Deadalic Studio West, a studio that he has also founded himself, after having co-founded Flare Games, another German game developer. On the day I launched my Kickstarter for Journey Home, he called me saying, "Kai, what have you done? You called your Kickstarter project exactly the same way, or pretty similar to the way he wanted to call his video game," which was
The Long Journey Home, because it's actually a journey where you end up with your crew in the end of the galaxy trying to find home. And it's also a metaphor a little bit about my own journey, finding a way home, to find an environment to work on cool games. So yeah, that's something we really have in common.
Absolutely. Journey home was my private journey home back to something that I really love doing. So it's pretty much the same thing for you. We're longtime friends, so it really makes sense for us to work together on this game.
We always wanted, so it really fits.
Absolutely. It was like two puzzle pieces coming together in the exact right moment in time. Now, what is that game?
Yeah, actually it's a roguelike game where you end up in the end of the galaxy with your crew and you're trying to find your way home. And the whole game is procedurally generated, and the whole tone and the atmosphere of the game is really warm because it's more about the crew than about building the big spaceship. So it's really a journey, and you are meeting strange aliens and try to communicate with them. Your whole actions are communications. So for one race, raising the shields is maybe a good idea, or for the other one, you scare them away.
You mentioned that on the one hand, the journey home being something like a motive that is driving the both of us, it's also translating into the game. Besides the fact that you're talking to different alien races in the game along the journey, what are other things that your spaceship and the crew can bump into, and what can happen to them during their journey?
So you land on planets and you try to get the right resources to keep your ship together and to survive actually with all your crewmates. You find artifacts, and these kind of artifacts are little stories that happen, and I think one special thing is you try to find Earth, and it's maybe you don't get it the first time, so you play over and over, and we are mixing new gameplay elements each time, so different kind of aliens, different kind of quests, different kind of elements you are meeting.
Mm-hmm. What got me hooked personally was the fact that in this management game, so to speak, we have that story of a crew returning home, so it's a very close, intimate story essentially in that management game. And so one of the first things that we talked about was emotion and aesthetics. So we didn't so much focus on the game mechanics and sort of what the actual rules and systems behind the games were, but what is the tone, what are the aesthetics and the look and the sound essentially?
I think that's something really special for me in this project. Normally I'm coming from the mechanic kind of perspective, so I'm doing most of the time mechanics and then trying to figure out how it works with narratives. And this time finding a goal for the gamer that is really intrinsic. So like finding your way home is something everybody can understand, and we could obviously relate to
exactly
it. and something you personally relate to exactly, and then finding a way to use mechanics and all the narratives to enforce that and to make that great. And I think when we talked about that, it really was great to have someone who has kind of the same mindset. So that was, it directly clicked.
And we started playing around with emotional adjectives, saying, do we want to have it warm or cold? Do we want to have it like modern or rather like retro style?
Yeah. When we talk about the tone and the atmosphere, I think this kind of universe, I think it's interesting to build because it's more colorful and more vivid than technical sci-fi games normally are. So I think that's something special, and that's something that hooks people who are more with emotions and warm atmosphere, etc. So.
Perfect. It sounds like the perfect game for me. Also, I'm really excited to be on the project.
I'm so excited to have you on the project.
Cool, so check it out. Check out Daedalic's announcement for Project Daedalus, tongue twister, the long journey home, and there's going to be a lot of nice music for this project written by myself.
That's true.
Yeah, that's it. And I think you guys will understand how much sense it actually makes for me to work on that project and how happy I am to be on board. And also, the fact that you guys helped me make my own album sort of created a level of attention and awareness that ultimately led to a few offers from other game studios as well for me to make game music. So you actually not just helped me make my album, but also helped me get back to game music, which is really cool. So thank you very much for that. And yeah, I want to end this video with a few nature shots accompanied by my music. Music for Journey Home, obviously. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video, and I will see you again very soon.